Good evening, good evening. Just got in here just a few moments ago. It's been a real busy day. Not sure how everybody else is, but it's been really busy going on this side here. I've got some topics. I got quite a few posties lined up on here. Some other information of the day. Yeah, I was looking at somebody else text me and said that, well, I won't get into that right now. We'll touch on a few topics later on, I think. We'll wait till some more folks are in. Hopefully everybody is doing well today. I have another laptop open just so I can be able to see the feed for the chat here. I'm trying to get the brightness down just a little bit there, just so we don't get us all washed out here. Yeah, it's been a lot of things going on my end, so I do apologize for kind of moving around at the last second. Got quite a few people in here. Joe Lally, how are you doing? I have over 3,500 listings on eBay, and with the postal service issue being laid on everything, it's been a disaster. Everyone is submitting for refunds. What do you do? If the item still shows that it's tracking, I mean, they can't give a refund as opposed to what eBay says. As long as it's tracking, even if it's past the date that it says it should be delivered, I've never had an issue. As long as tracking is still going on. Sorry about that. Looks like I got several things going on here. So just FYI, hopefully everybody can hear me. Let me hop down just to make sure. Everything should be running good today. Yeah, I don't see anything going on. No warnings or anything. We'll get down through some names in just a minute here. I haven't had any refund requests. I did have somebody open a case the other day. His item wasn't even late when he opened the case. He was irritated and said it was going in the wrong direction because it didn't go straight to him. It went out away from him and then came back. Again, they're changing everything up, so destinations don't mean a thing, you know, honestly, where they're going. If there's no tracking for 10 days plus, on the 11th day, the person can open a case and have it closed in their behalf if tracking doesn't show up for more than 10 days. eBay's standard, and unless they've changed it, it's always been 10 days. If there's no tracking for 10 days, it can be claimed as lost, and then the buyer's going to get a refund back no matter what. That's how that works. If it shows tracking 3-4 days ago, you should still be safe by eBay standards. Unless, again, they changed it, but I have not heard any word, any post, and nor have I seen any issues with that directly. People can ask you, email you for a refund, but again, they have to open up a case to eBay. Don't ever give a refund out regardless unless a case is open in my book. If a case is open and everything's taken care of at the end of the day, you should be clear and good to go in my book. I don't just give them money back because an item is stuck in the mail somewhere. Again, I'll wait to the very last second until eBay forces me to do it before I'll do it, because many times it'll show up and then you're asked, well, if you give them the money back. Once you give them the money back, if you're not saving email addresses and things like that, you won't be able to send them another invoice through PayPal or whatever payment service you are using. You won't be able to collect it. You can email them, but once they got it and they got their money, you know, it's going to be pretty hard to force them to give you the money back. I've had that issue and actually ended up tracking down some nice folks that were willing to pay it over it. I actually refunded before they asked, but it was missing for like 5 weeks at that point. So, you know, I didn't want any issues. He ended up paying, but that's not usually what I hear people tell me what happens. Yeah, I've been running around. I've still got kids, the college, and car issues for my youngest and the whole works. Hey, Aaron, how you doing? I'm assuming somebody had some foreign language typed in there. Hey, Benro, how are you doing, Ben? I got Daryl right down there below. Wendy D, good evening. Let's see here. Chasm Stickle, hello all. I've had less success since the change to match or best match. 3 items mailed, Monday arrived, 3 still out. Hey Annie, how you doing? Got Bob down there too. Hello, Bob. Anybody in Patreon? I just put a video up like 30 minutes ago. So there is another video on there. And I'll have another one tomorrow as well. You'll probably have like one tomorrow and then another one Saturday. So there should be 3 videos, I think, up on Patreon this week. Interesting topics. I moved stuff around in one of the videos, the one that goes up tomorrow for Patreons. I'm moving stuff around, and there's going to be literally what's going on. I'll give you updates on every topic, CSV, Shopify, and everything else, just FYI. I also had some comments on public domain in Patreon, which I will be addressing in a video coming up real quick as well. Daryl, issues with sending offers. Over the last week, I have had 5 offers go to watchers as $1 offer, then get purchased. One was a $135 item, had to cancel all 5. Happened on 2 different computers. That I have not seen at all. I double check every one before I send them out. I'm not saying you missed something. I don't know. I haven't seen that one at all. I would be tempted to call and ask eBay and point that out and see what they can say. My guess is they're going to come back either way and tell you that's what they have showing as being put in, whether you did or not. That's just my guess on it. Silk Road Treasure Trove, how are you doing? Welcome from New Jersey. Cornelius, how are you doing? I asked you if he could tell how to sell used items on Amazon. Thanks. We are ungated in collectibles, historical, vintage in general. We can sell pretty much anything used. You can sell used items in general just on the normal pages like collectible toys. There's a collectible toys section. We sell all kinds of little doodads and toys on Amazon in that way. Other than that, I don't really know which area you're looking for, but vintage items, used items can be sold. We sell pretty much all the paper and stuff that we sell on eBay on Amazon as well. It's cross-listed, or we have some specifics that can be sold on Amazon only. Now, you can get an exemption to list items that aren't on there in specific categories. Again, it comes down to what you want to list. You can't list like vintage clothing and stuff like that. You can list some used electronics as well, and you can list them. If you do, though, they have to be complete. If it came with a remote, you have to have the remote. If the box version, when it was sold, came with the cords, it has to have the cord. You cannot sell something on Amazon that isn't complete and fully working and functional in every way, shape, or form. Just my take on it. I've never had an issue with selling something used, in all honesty, on Amazon at all. We sell, vintage stuff from the 1800s. I sell 78 records, 45s, photos, stills. Richard Pryor's estate's the only one I've ever had an issue with selling something used on Amazon. And in all honesty, they didn't have a right to challenge or put a claim in because the items that were claimed were CBS owned and not Richard Pryor's estate. Richard Pryor himself signed off on a contract which allowed CBS to put out these promotional items. Hence, there was nothing that Richard Pryor's estate could do because they were already signed up. But anyway, it was a long, long, drawn-out ordeal. I've had 2 other people tell me the very same thing. It looks like we just lost feed, so you're going to have to give me just a second here. I do apologize. It looks like we have frozen up. It'll take just a second here for me to fix it. I did fix the cable, but apparently I didn't catch something. Hang on just one second. You'll see it pop back up. I should have caught that just a minute sooner. I do apologize. Is it going to pop back in? There we go. Sorry about that. You should see everything working fine right now. I don't know what I did. It's taped up on the side over there this time. Hopefully that helps a little bit, Daryl. I can't tell you specifics on that one for sure. I'm sorry, Cornelius there. Hudson Resells, how are you doing this evening? Kathy, how's Kathy doing in Australia? Everyone is safe. Friday 888, how are you doing? RX Treasure Center, good evening. Robert M, welcome. I got Gail Maker right down below. Debbie Keith, how are you doing? Darlene, welcome. Talk to eBay, they have no clue. I know offers were 100% not $1. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt you know what you're doing, Daryl. Garden Daisy, good evening. Best shelving for sorting items. Type in, I don't know the name of them, but it's on Amazon, the ones I get. Every shelf you see came from Amazon. I bought 2 of them shipped for $110 when I bought them. They're like $65 a piece. I buy them in pairs. They're like 4-foot shelf. Just type in 4-foot shelf on Amazon and you should find them. Those are the cheapest, the best ones that I could find. Now, Walmart has a fairly decent one that's similar in price, give or take $10 or $15. I had them shipped. They're heavy. They weigh like, I want to say 70 pounds a box or 60 pounds. They have obviously particle board shelving. You know, I guess they're 3/4 inch, I think is what I got. So they're very reasonable. We've got like, I don't know how many, 20, 30 of them, something like that. Quite a few of them. And that's all what I've bought. I do have some vintage ones that I got or acquired from when I worked in the restaurant. If you want the highest, the best ones, they're called Metro Max. And you can get shelf liners and all kinds of stuff. They're all coated, and they're made to be in damp environment. They won't rust is the point on those. They cost a fortune, though. Just go to Amazon and look them. They're going to be around $110, as I said. Hey, Michelle, how are you doing this evening? So far, shipping for me has been fine, Gail. We have reduced services here in Australia as 2 states virtually shut down. That's a shame. That's from Australia, Kathy again. Ben Rowe, what is the biggest thing that keeps resellers from getting over the hump and going full-time? Are there specific hurdles, or are you more of the opinion that it's just a slow climb, no hump involved? I don't think it's... There's a hump for most people. Let's just put it that way. Hang on just a second here. I can't speak specifically to you, Ben Rowe. It's kind of a tough one there. Personally, we saw big differences once we hit like the 10,000 item range. There's 2 philosophies on this. For us, the bulk wise works for us, and I got a video coming out on this actually, but I'll just shoot just part of this out here right now before the video is up. It's already done. It's probably going to be like this weekend sometime here on YouTube. In my take on it, and I have people say, you know, why do you get such sales? Why this? Why that? Why do you sell them for higher and this and that? Having, say, 15 or 20,000 items up in one specific category, and let's say there's only 100,000 items in the whole category. I got 20% of a specific category. We're just giving you some examples. I don't know the exact figures for which categories. I know there's some that we have like 80% of all the items in that category when you look. If you have a massive quantity on that, that means that when anybody's looking through the listings, at 20%, 1 out of every 5 listing that they look at is going to be me. They all look the same. All of my boxes, my description boxes are identical. So they instantly know, even if they're not paying attention to the name, hey, this is the same. The images are the same. The amounts of images are the same. There's 3 for every one. All the blocks are the same. The description's the same. Condition box is the same. They're going to remember me. They're going to keep coming back. I have in every one of my stores too, or every one of my listings for the same item, I say, hey, I've got more of these, or I have massive amounts here. Check them out. They're going to keep running across me in categories they collect in, so my name gets around a lot better than just having, minimal amounts of items. Say if you only had 50 items in that same category, your results would be totally different than what I'm dealing with, would be my guess on it. And, it's just the massive amount of products that we have out that helps me, with more sales. If you're putting a ton of items up, I can't say 100% that just having a whole bunch of items up is going to make a huge difference if they're not good items. If they're not of interest to people, I guess is another point to it. But for us, the bulk works because in the categories that I try to dominate in, it's all me. I've got the most amount in certain categories of anybody up. There's nobody that has 15,000 of this in specific category, and anybody who collects sees me. Everybody knows at some point if they want something specific, they'll probably have to come to me, and it builds up a rapport. Why would they go to other people when they can just go to one store and see everything they want all at once with a reasonable rate with someone with good feedback? I mean, that's just my take on it. I can't say there is a hump or there will be a hump for everybody. There is a point that I see where people can't get to a certain plateau because they just can't get enough stuff coming in, or they just can't get enough listed up in time. So if you're listing, say, 50 items a week and you're selling 50 items a week, you're not going to grow your business unless you're getting higher and higher valued items that sell for a bigger and bigger percentage of profit, which usually isn't possible. You usually get to a point where you only can get so many high dollar items at a time. You can't source other certain items. You run into an issue with that. That's my take on it. So a hump could be you can't list enough to keep up with your sales, or you just can't find the items to begin with. Most people that I run into that have they're stuck at 5,000, 10,000, wherever they're stuck at, they don't know what else to do from that point. They can't figure out how to get more items at a reasonable price to increase it. Again, you can VA and stuff like that, virtual assistant, if you don't know what a VA is. And basically with a VA, you would upload photos that you took. You'd have to upload maybe some other information, and you'd have somebody in another country or somewhere else list them for you virtually. You'd have to give some login information and things like that. With eBay now, you can have other people working for you, so you can give a VA a specific login. Those are the humps that I would say anybody would have an issue with. For us, I can't say again it's a hump. It was just overwhelming certain areas and knowing more. The more you know, the better chance you have that a hump isn't going to mean anything to you. If you understand every little aspect, you figure out where to source, you won't have a hump. Knowledge is always power, and that's like one of the key factors that I would say you're going to run into with trying to advance your business. I got the video just from the other day, the $10,000 profit. It's not going to be just some switch is going to turn and then all of a sudden you're making a ton of money. It took us 3 years to have enough, revenue coming in to consider it a full-time, hey, I don't have to worry so much anymore. But I still do, boy, these lights are bugging me. I'm sorry. I still do, 70 hours a week most of the time. I think I'm on day like 18, 14 straight hour days. Again, it's not 14. I'm working every minute straight for 14 hours. I'm running around and stuff, and I do other things sometimes during the day. But I got about 14 hours invested into doing this. Now, some people are going to say, hey, yeah, I don't want to put in all that time. Probably in the wrong business if you don't want to put in all the time. I got a topic here that this is going to, hang on just a second here. What did I do with the other one? Okay, here we go. Now the title is, what are your expectations as a full-time reseller? One thing that most people, and this is really important, this is like something that there should be like a drum roll everywhere when people talk about this. Most people who are doing this and who just started doing this are only thinking about getting by and growing it and trying to, do whatever they can. Most people are just thinking day to day as well. The biggest thing is that most people, no offense to anybody out there, this isn't meant as a cut. This was me pretty much too, are short-sighted in their thoughts on eBay in general. Now, I'm looking at what's going to happen in 10 or 20 years down the road. Do you want this to be your full-time business? Is that the point? That's the point. Yes, you do. If you want this to be your full-time business, what's going to happen when you're 65 and you need to retire or something? Are you still going to be able to do this? Are you going to have medical issues? Are you going to be able to drive? Are you going to be able to mail? Are you going to be able to do all the same features? So for me, at the age I'm at now, that's why I'm putting in so many hours. I'm thinking about the future. People say, I don't want to do those hours. I hear that constantly. Or it's not that hard. I'll hear other people telling me and things like that. It may not be super, super hard if you're not worrying about setting aside and getting it to a point so 20 years down the road, you're going to be okay without having to worry. You're not going to have a pension. You're not going to have, stuff coming in unless your business is making so much revenue. Your Social Security payments won't be super huge. You're not going to have benefits at the end of the day. You probably need to be busting it as much as you can while you're younger and setting stuff aside for the future. Nobody thinks about the future. It's just like a BOP. I don't hear anybody thinks about or wants to get a BOP, a business owner's policy and stuff. I don't hear anybody worrying about, 5-10 years from now when you would like to retire and you won't be able to because you didn't bust yourself when you could to make sure that you were okay come retirement time. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at, the day-to-day thoughts. I mean, I do that obviously, but that's not what drives my mind and what I think about. I'm always thinking about, 10, 20 years down the road these days. I'm getting older, I've got to worry about longevity doing this. My expectations, I want something at the end. I want 20 years down the road for this to still be either I have a ton in the bank or the revenue's still coming in. And if I don't do it now while I'm able to, I'd be so short-sighted on my business plan. And that's in your business plan. It should be. Maybe right now you're struggling to get to a certain plateau. Obviously, Ben's talking about, getting so much in a hump. At some point, you've got to figure out what you want out of this. What's your expectations are. Not just paying the bills and stuff and getting a bunch of money coming in, but you got to get enough coming in to think about your future. And I know this is, people don't think about that, but when you work for somebody else, you get a pension or you can put something into an IRA deducted out of your paychecks. And this is something that most people don't even want to think about, don't care about. I'm young, I don't have to worry about it. I've got plenty of time. Well, time flies by, and at some point, if you keep going at the same pace, you may never get ahead, or you may be complacent with how it's going now and never realize that, hey, I should have bumped it up, or I should have done this, or I should have done that, and that would have brought more revenue in. So at the end of the day, I'd be set in the future. I'm a penny pincher, because every dime I save now is something I can, put aside. I can grow it, and do something else with it. I'm honestly thinking about, 20 years down the road. That's not being short-sighted. That's being smart and covering yourself for the future. Now, me and the wife both have a pension from Disney. It's not huge, so I've got something coming in. We've got money invested in stuff. I do have a technical IRA as well from where I worked before. Stuff still rolls and stuff like that with those. But the point is, most people don't have anything like that, and they're expecting, this to make them through the end. I would rather bust it now for a good 5 or 10 years and make sure that I'm to a certain plateau. If you want to call it a hump or whatever the case may be, so be it. But again, don't be short-sighted on this. This is my life. This is what I want my life to be. I expect this to take me through the end of my life, or to some point in the future where that's going to be enough to make it by, I guess I would say. I know most people, as I said, aren't interested in this kind of conversation there, but this is something, if you want it to be full-time, you really want to do this, that's all the stuff you've got to think about. You got to think about, health insurance. You got to think about dental. You got to think about insurance in general for what you're doing here. And that's just my take on it, However you take it, that's up to you. But from my personal experience and my personal thoughts, I'm on my own. I can't rely on anybody. You've got to do it now. So not to dampen anybody's thoughts or feelings, but that's one of the biggest worries that I could say most people should be thinking about is the future. And what'll happen? What if something happens drastically to the reseller market? What if other items get zeroed, or the whole structure of online selling changes to a point where you can't sell most anything because of zeros or licensing or something? You got to have some ploy, some plan, some thought for the future in whatever you do. And for me, again, I do a business plan, and I've been changing it a lot lately. If this doesn't work or it doesn't seem to be heading in the direction I want, I change it right away. I'm not going to wait around till, I'm floundering to figure it out. We've back and forth with the plan since eBay did all the increased free listings. I'm still not 100% sure on routes that I want to take for our business, and this is all coming into play because, again, I'm thinking so far into the future on employees. And those in Patreon, you're going to see a little more of some things we got going on. We do create toys, and I do have some other things going on. I've got one of my kids doing something right now, and it's going to be all mass marketable items that we'll be doing, and we'll be shooting around for getting picked up. I already got 2 toy companies that are going to take our products, so I'm thinking about other things. eBay's great, don't get me wrong at all, but you gotta be able to recoup and capture a big chunk of the market to do well these days with how many people are out there and, the way the environment is, the reselling environment in general. So you can't just be complacent on going to a bunch of garage sales and that's going to be your life. Are you going to want to go to garage sales 5 or 10 years from now and just that's all you do is still just drive around to garage sales? Most people come to the conclusion that that's the hardest way when you get to a certain point to do this because there's no guarantees with it. The bigger, the bulk, the mass, the replenishables, I'm sorry, but I've started to stray that way in many different areas. I love the vintage and will never, ever, ever stop selling that, but I'm literally thinking about longevity. And I'm not interested in marketing or being a social marketing guy that, advertises and does this and does that. I'm not interested in that. I really like the whole business aspect of running a business and getting it going and getting items and sourcing. I like that. So that's where I'm going with mine. What your expectations are, you're really going to have to think about. And I know that doesn't sound like, what most people talk about, but you gotta know where you're going with this, what you want out of this. I mean, it's great after a few years of doing this, the garage sales every day and having to fight to find something. They're going to get a little harder and a little bit harder as time goes by. There's always going to be stuff to buy in my book, but it's going to be a lot harder with more people and the pandemic. And some of the people that are reselling now aren't going back to a regular job. Their jobs may not be there. So I don't see, it dropping off. Even people who get jobs, once they realize they can make some extra money, I think that competition is going to be there for a while in most cases. I just want to open up people's thoughts to that, because if you're not worried about that sort of thing, you're missing the whole point of why you're doing reselling in the beginning. The whole reason why you do it. I'm doing this for a full-time lifetime of employment for myself, and branching out is the only way that I can feel that I'm covering every single base. I know I'm going on a little tangent. We'll go back to the questions in a minute there, but I just wished everybody saw the vision, or a vision of where this can go for you. And I know where it can go for you. I'm totally, thankful for everything that's happened to us the way it's happened to us. I mean, I couldn't do some of the things I do. I couldn't help my kids out financially. I couldn't do a lot of what we do without reselling, and eBay was our start, as I've said many times before. Expectations. I just can't get that into everybody's head enough. You've got to know what you want out of this. Let's go back to the questions here. We'll talk back about some more expectations in a few moments here. Gail, let's see. What if eBay gave a refund to a customer and the item finally is delivered? eBay won't help you recollect that money, from what I have seen, what I've dealt with personally. When that happens, I would write down their email address prior to you giving them the refund. First thing you do before you give a refund out. That way you can at least contact them. If they paid and you're not managed payments, get their PayPal address, email address, so you can send them an invoice for it. I would contact eBay and have it noted, at least, if they won't do anything about it. But I personally haven't seen eBay allow or do anything with recharging them at all once the payment has been refunded. Just what I've seen. And the other thing you have to think of too, they're paying again, they're going to take another fee out. So you lost the fees from collecting it, the refund didn't give your fees back, and now you're going to have to go ahead and try and collect another time. Again, now eBay's getting another fee. So they double feed on that one. If they're going to double fee, they should allow an option to recharge that person. That's just my take on it. I don't think they've worked out all the kinks and bugs on that, in all honesty. I got another video coming out on managed payments, and this is another one that I've delved into a lot, and I've spent some time talking about the items and looking into the items that are banned and things like that, and it's going to go into some detail in that. It's a mixed bag, the managed payments, in all honesty. Haven't had any issues with getting payments or anything, but there's more to it than that, of course. Let's see here. Black Crystal Dice, how are you doing this evening? And I got Nancy, and there's Mr. Carl from sunny Florida down there, too. How you doing, Carl? Hope you are doing well. Shipping has been quick for me lately. Shocking. Medium mail has delivered from Cincy to PA and Minnesota in 2 days. Crazy fast. I've had several people tell me that medium mail was running faster than first class and priority. What I have noticed, and this is from sending out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of packages, the bigger the package, the quicker they come. I don't know what the deal is, but the ones that are dumped in the big, huge bins with massive amounts of little packages, those are the ones that seem to be delayed the most. Every one that I've looked through that I've had a delay on has been one that's been smaller. A 6x9 poly are most of what my issues are with pretty much anything I've sent out. Even the delayed item that I just had the other day was a poly bag. All the big boxes and things like that. All my shipping supplies come in. My tape comes in. I've ordered some other electronic equipment. That all came right in a big box. So the Weebles, they're all taking, just minimal time to come in, but they're big boxes. Let's see here. Hey, Texas Haggler, how are you doing this evening? Mouse Police 55, welcome, welcome. And I got, are you a collector? How are you doing, collector there? As far as USPS, I have had good luck by going into the USPS website and putting in my email for tracking. It usually seems like it suddenly gets updated. I haven't had that result. Whenever I go ahead and have an issue and it's not showing up, I go to the post office, and I can't remember the page. It's saved as a favorite in mine. We have an account with them, so I can just log in. And if you type in lost mail, there'll be one that says report or search lost mail. You click on that option, and it's going to give you 3 different options. The very bottom one opens up I've got dogs down here. I already can feel the hair blowing around. But it'll open up a request or a search, I think it's called. It's the very bottom choice. And whenever I do that, they always seem to start moving within a day or two. Every single time I have done that. It puts a search start on it. Basically, what it looks like is they're pushing stuff aside, and some of it seems to sit there for like 10 days at a time, 8-10 days, and then it just starts pushed out, and it all shows up all at once. And I've even had postal employees tell me that, word for word, that nothing will come in from one location for days on end, and then all of a sudden you'll get like 2 trucks just full of stuff from them. I don't know what's going on. They haven't figured it out, apparently, themselves. Debbie Keith, how are you doing? Again, I'm lucky. No shipping issues from Burbank. The more you ship, the more you'll notice the issues, I can tell you right now. I'm sorry, my dogs. Go on. My dog's here, and I do have allergies sometimes. Are you RK Treasure Center? I have been selling on eBay for 10 years, have been an Anchor Store subscription. What do you have? What are the benefits that you see? Many new eBayers need to hear from experienced sellers. We have an Anchor Store temporarily. I'm going down to I guess it's a premium store, the $59.99 plan. The only difference between an Anchor Store now and the premium, the lower version, is the cost, really, and the fact that you get Anchor Store support. You can get a phone call. I don't really care anymore. There's nothing that's so pressing that I have to have an answer. With Anchor Store support, the phone service, I can call them anytime I want. Just FYI, I don't know how everybody else is, but I can get right through within a few moments. It's just routed to somebody's house. It's been that way since the pandemic has went on. I only had like a 2-week gap where I couldn't call. I don't know if it's worth $220 extra bucks for that. To me, it's not, because I can just go to Facebook, eBay for Business, and it's just an email, and I don't even have to wait on nothing. It's just a 2-minute thing. I come back later and I check. If I don't get a response, I can just send another email. I'm not in a hurry for stuff like that these days. You're going to have issues like that. As long as you fix them properly and stuff like that, you're not going to have an issue, in my opinion. Hopefully that makes sense. I've had people tell me that with the Anchor Store, you get more visibility and stuff. I don't see it anywhere. No one at eBay has said, hey, you're going to get different visibility having a more expensive store. The only difference with the more expensive store is that you're getting more listings, or in the past, that was the case. Now with managed payments, obviously, you're getting so many free listings that it's not even funny anymore for the price. It's almost comparable to Amazon to some extent, because most people aren't going to get 50,000 listings up, in all honesty, on their store. I don't care that it's only in select categories, because it just happens to be in all the categories that I sell in the first place. So it helps the collector side more so than anybody else, only because, again, they're collectibles that they're doing this to. I think, in my mind, they at least see a little logic in the collectible field. They are the only collectible field in here, you know, that really has a good sway and things. I know Etsy, you sell collectibles and stuff. I know we sell them on Amazon, and I know Ruby Lane, and there's a few other ones out there. But when you compare them to eBay, do a Google Trends and see how relevant those sites are compared to eBay. eBay still dominates them. If Amazon and Walmart are not on a matching grade on Google Analyticals or Google Trending, you know, eBay dominates everybody else. So, you know, even Poshmark and all the other ones are just a minuscule little blip on the bottom when you compare them just to eBay. Now, you put Amazon in there, eBay's down at the bottom, you can't even see any of the other sites like Ruby Lane. They don't even show up because it's so skewed by Amazon. You know, Google Trends is really good for many things. You can use it if you're a YouTuber for finding out a very large amount of information for keywords and all kinds of stuff. And people just underestimate or just don't think about Google Trends. I use it a lot. And that's a good tool for not just eBay. It really helps with eBay titles. If you're a major seller on Amazon, I Google Trend stuff if they're on Amazon, if it's a product on Amazon. If it's NOS or FBA and it's an RA items or something, I'm going to trend it to see what trends higher. And I'll use that to my benefit to title the item, because even, you'll be surprised, even like the company that sells some of the items, sometimes the wording they use isn't a trendable wording, and they're hurting their own sales. So you can get better sales on Amazon with your FBA sometimes over and above the people who actually own and sell the product, because they're using, you know, not the greatest keywords, and they're just not trending words. And you know, that's a big plus. If you check trending a lot, you're going to see they change from time to time drastically. You know, in just a couple days, something could hit on, again, we're talking about NOS here for just a minute, NOS, FBA, and merchant fulfilled stuff. So, you know, one day some social media person, you know, an Instagram account with 500,000 or 1 million subscribers could wear something or advertise something, and they could set a specific, you know, hashtag or something. And the wording using those hashtags would be like the keys to selling that item that they're talking about in there. You know, it would already have a following to some extent. And that's why trending comes in good with a lot of stuff like that. I know that's a little bit of a tangent off there, but, you know, I think about that stuff all the time. I was just watching something on a new way to use trending just the other day, and if you're not using trending for stuff, you know, if you're volume seller and you've got replenishables, I honestly would recommend anybody who's doing reselling with replenishables to try trending. Try checking some of the keywords you're using in trending just a couple times. Just do comparisons even, you know, and you'll be surprised that sometimes you getting the right one keyword in there will boost your sales immensely. It'll rock you past the folks that aren't doing that. The ones that just hit it, they're doing pretty good, and they think, wow, I'm just doing great. You can surpass those people by using better search terms and things like that as well, too. Finds of yesterday, good evening. And I got Dom. Hey, Dom, how are you doing this evening? Hope you are doing well. Dom's show last night looked like everybody was having a good old time last night. I don't get much time to watch many channels, but honestly, Dom's the only one I can say that I probably watched the vast majority of everything he puts up. I can't say that about anybody else, in honesty. No disrespect to anybody. I don't have time. Usually if I'm in the morning and I'm packing up and I missed one of his and I didn't get a chance, it'll be playing while I'm packing up or something. Sometimes I just have it on and I listen while I'm doing other stuff. Even while I'm editing videos, sometimes I'll just hit pause while I'm editing and pop back and over to see what he's got showing on the screen. But Dom's on my friends list. I don't think that would change. Dom's a real good guy. You know, I can't say enough about Dom. He's like the only one that I guess gets me for who I am. I'll shout out an example here. I did the video the other day on $10,000 profit on eBay. I'm just talking about eBay, and I knew what would happen right off the bat. I knew I would get bombed with emails of people spewing hate. You know, just like today, before the video started today, I had 4 negatives. Again, I don't really care anymore. I'm totally beyond even caring because it doesn't affect any of my numbers or views or anything else. It has no play whatsoever in it. It's just ridiculous that they waste the time to follow me just so they can do that. But the point is, I make comments in the video, and again, I don't really care what another channel thinks about it, but I have received hate from that email talking from other channels, and I know it's in other channels. Some of the comments they made are something I've heard before on one of the channels, so I know who it is now. Thank goodness they sent that nasty reply, because I know who it is. I'm not going to do anything. I don't really care what they got to say or anything else like that. But comments I make when I talk about when people are doing this to just get your money coming in, or are they doing it because they want to help people? A lot of people here have courses. And again, I'm not saying all courses are bad, but the majority of the courses I see and what people are doing, they just want your money. Most people, once they figure out that they can get course money in, they don't have to buy anything, they don't have to source. All they got to do is put up a video, a course video, and then they got your money. That's when it bothers me, because I'm not willing to do that. I'd rather lose extra $10,000 a month that I could have been making doing that and not do that, because I don't want to be that type of person. And that's why I take so much hate. And I know other channels have made some remarks to other channels. People do tell me things. People send me stuff. Again, I'm not asking for anything. I don't really care what another channel says about me. I don't care if somebody dogs on me. I don't care what they think about me. They don't pay my bills, and it doesn't affect my business, whatever they do. So, I don't sync well with other people, I guess, because I'm just blunt. I don't really care about the other aspects. I'm looking at it from a business aspect, and my business is reselling. It's not figuring out how to do a course or market you something. I barely talk about a Patreon page that I have, because I don't even, it's not the top of my concern. I don't really care as much for the money that way. I love talking about the stuff that I do. I just can't express that enough. I know I'm weird. I know I'm out there. I know I don't fit in with the norm, and I clash with people. Dom's one of the few people that it's not like that, and I see Dom in a different light. I think he feels similar wise. I don't ever try to disrespect somebody who respect. I do write stuff. I do have some books. I will have some guides out. I do have a paid page. I only offer content. I'm not going to guarantee you anybody's going to make a fortune or even make anything off of watching anything that I offer. I can't. There's no guarantees in life. But I feel sincerely that if you want to know how to do this, you should learn from somebody who actually does this full time, not from somebody who did it for a little while just so they can put a course together and say, hey, look, I'm doing it. Here's my page. I sell a couple items a week, and that's what I see more and more of these days. They're snake oil salesmen, as far as all I can say. I'm not saying you're not going to get some decent information from it, but most of it's something you can get on your own, in all honesty. Again, there are some good courses out there, and there's some really good channels out there. I still like quite a few. I mean, Bearded Picker, Scott's a really good guy, Wade's Ventures, a really good guy. I don't talk to a lot of people much these days because I don't have time. Dom I do talk to very, very regularly. But, I always take hate from speaking my mind from channels who say I'm ruining their business because I'm telling people they shouldn't get courses. I'm never telling people not to do a course. What I'm telling you is to do a course from somebody who's actually a full-time reseller, that's his business. That's the best way to learn. You don't want to learn from somebody who just barely knows how to do it themselves, and then they're preaching that you're going to buy 50 of this, 60 of that every single week, and you're going to sell 50 of this, 60 of this every single week. It's just not the real world. It doesn't work that way for 99% of the population, and I always get the flack from saying stuff like that. If you look at my videos, it's always the one with the worst feedback, the ones that I'm just being honest with. Again, because there's a lot of people out there that literally don't really care if you're selling. They just care that you buy their course or buy their items or buy this or buy that. Again, I have affiliate links and stuff. I don't even talk about them. They're just in the videos. I make pocket change for it. I couldn't even fill up a gas tank with what I get in affiliate links for a month. So it's not a money issue. Again, I'm sorry to vent off from the side here, but that's why I really like Dom. He's not in with that game, and he's not part of a scam scheme. He's a reseller. And those are the type of folks that you either get me or you don't. And I really don't care anymore if people don't like me or don't get me. I'm a business person, and that's what floats my boat. The folks who follow me, the folks that are in my Patreon, hopefully they understand who I am. I don't hide anything. This is me in real life, in public. I'm not a different person online. I'm not, some con job. I don't, post on Instagram every single day. I don't, do the Facebook like I should. I'm not a big fan of social media. I don't care to just market or get money from posting a video or like advertising something. I don't put links or constant posts and stuff like that. Again, I don't want to rant. I'm sorry. Let's move on to some more questions here. Patrick and Anna Lore, how are you doing this evening? Regina, picking Lomo style Hoffman, how are you doing this evening? This week, eBay lost over 100 of my listings and relisted sold items took a few hours to fix. Well, that's surprising. I don't know if you have a whole different setup in Australia, so I don't want to speak on that behalf. I've had people here on the U.S. site make mistakes and accidentally do stuff. Again, I don't think Kathy's doing that, but if you're new and let's say you sell similar, you could accidentally relist the original listing if you don't go back and delete those. And I see people doing that all the time. And when I'm talking to people or I'm going back and forth in email, in Patreon or something, usually that ends up being the case here on the American side. Again, I'm sure the UK site is totally different in construction. It's not on the same servers. It's not tied to the US site. They're totally different platforms and sites. So my guess is they even have different developers. There may be some other issues. It may be related, just like when they lost tens of millions of photos for people. It may be something along that line. An IT issue from an update or changing something over. They clicked the wrong button too soon. That's a tough one. I've seen it on people's pages before, and I can't explain it either. eBay is probably totally puzzled. I'm going to say they have no clue on it. Let me slide down here. Hey, Susanna. How are you doing this evening? Valhalla 56, yes, you can call eBay, and you do get a human every time I call with an Anchor Store support. You get full service phone conversations with eBay. Again, I've only had 2 weeks where I couldn't call them. For the last 3 months, I've been able to call eBay at any time I want. Just pick up the phone and dial. I got a direct number. With an Anchor Store, you actually have a assigned named person you can call if you request one, and you would always deal with that person. At least that's how it's been for us. Just FYI. Rage Relief, well, thank you very kindly. I honestly and sincerely appreciate a $10 super chat. Again, that's another thing. I don't even remember it's there half the time. As a 10-year full-time reseller, I constantly learn new things watching your videos. I really appreciate your quality content. Keep it. Well, thank you honestly and sincerely. That's very nice of you. Something you don't really have to do. I do appreciate it. It does help the channel. I try to be honest with what I tell you, and I'm never going to be one of those that tells you that it's going to be an easy job. I haven't had it easy. It's been rough for the first many years doing this, and I've done it for a very long time. We used to do it, part-time when I worked full-time. Obviously it's changed into something else, but again, Rage Relief, I honestly and sincerely thank you for that. Again, it's not necessary. Again, I do appreciate it if you do feel that you're getting a good service out of this. Be my guest and give us a super chat. That's fine. But one thing I will ask, if you are enjoying the conversation, I got 170 people on my end right this moment. I got 52 thumbs up. I really like to get to that 100 mark before the show goes off. Hang on, my dog needs to move. Go on. Go on. Sorry. She's got little white hair and it floats all over the place. Thanks, Carl. I see you hit the like, folks. Thank you, Carl. Hey, Charles. I did answer your message there. As I said earlier, there is a new video up on Patreon right this minute for those in Patreon. It's in detail on the grant documents. I'm going to shout this out there. I don't know. This is going off tomorrow, so I don't know. I didn't take a photo or anything else, but we got a letter that appears to be from President Grant to Frederick Grant in that lot. I didn't see it right away, so if it turns out to be authentic, I have a signed letter from Ulysses S. Grant in that lot too. I've been pretty ecstatic over the lot, let me tell you. I did have somebody make a comment, and no disrespect was taken or meant if I say something on it, talking about that I wasn't going to be buying anymore. I don't need to go out and buy anything else or source anymore. But if something good comes by that I know I can make a fortune on, I'm going to buy it either way. Whether I got so much stuff in here I don't know what to do with it, which honestly is the case, I'm still going to buy it. And I had the opportunity to buy a massive lot of documents, as you saw in the video just the other day. That might be our best source ever of anything. It might blow away 50 grand in buttons, in all honesty, you know, profit-wise in buttons. You know, it's one of those rare things that you find something like that can make you the buku bucks, especially when you're not expecting it. You know, even in this market, that kind of thing's not going to be hurting for value. If you follow the high-end like Christie's, Sotheby's, or even Heritage is a real good auction. I've dealt with all those before, never had an issue. They were all polite, gave me honest results, gave me honest opinions, gave me honest estimates. The results beat the estimates by a long shot, so I was extremely happy in anyone's. The documents that I showed in that video they're going off tomorrow, PSA. They're going to be slabbed, authenticated, and the whole works. We get a discount through Amazon Prime or not Prime. It's through your business account. If you didn't know that, that's one of the benefits of it. You can PSA stuff at a discount. We're going to do a big group rate. I'm not going to be in a rush, so I'm not spending the extra money to get them back. I don't care when they come back. With the PSA on them, I can send them into any auction house in the country and not have any concerns about them not wanting them. And I'll increase my profits over eBay like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, who knows how many times, but it'll definitely be a better result spending a lot of money to have them all PSA'd, because it's a lot of stuff we're sending in. Let me pop down here some more. D. Comley, how are you doing? Good evening. DMH Products, welcome as well. Michelle Castaneda, hopefully I said that right. Why is your videos not working? I can hear you. Yeah, that's fixed. I know I'm behind, so I'm trying to catch back up. Frozen, fixed. We're not here to market, so if Bahala 56, I don't allow anybody to market, so if you're going to be posting stuff like that, give you a warning, I will remove you from the feed. I'm not here for anybody to market to people. We were just talking about that. Recently purchased almost 900 classic country cassette tapes. Would you test them before listing? Same with vinyl. I can play grade any record these days. I don't have to play them, and I can tell you if they play. The only thing most people, even once they get to that point, like on a 45, if you don't pay enough attention, even if it looks like it's an NM minus condition like on a record, sometimes they're pressed off center and they won't play right. Those are the only ones that you really got to pay extra special attention to. But tapes, as long as they're tight, I can move my finger back and forth. I can roll a little bit. I usually don't mess with them unless it's like an expensive, like an AOR rock or something like the album-oriented rock cassette, or like a promo or a private one. We have a cassette player that I can plug in. I do have one just for that reason, to test them. And I do test some of them, only the high dollar ones, just like $1,000 record. I'm going to go ahead and play that. I will probably take a clip. That comes back to even safety. If I've sold a record for hundreds and hundreds of dollars or $1,000, I will record the entire thing on my end. So if somebody tries to say that there was something wrong with the record, I've got proof that the record played. Hence, there you go. So that's just my take on stuff like that. Don is meditating. Yeah, Dom, you got it there. Let's see here. Carl saying, for cassettes, I always first look for the felt still intact under the tape. If it's not there, trash. If it is there, I pop it in and test real quick. Yeah, he's right on the felt, but I don't trash them if that felt tab is missing. You can replace that real easily, even on the tapes that are fused back together, just FYI. I've swapped those out on tapes many, many times. I also keep the clear tapes, and whenever I run into a cassette tape case that's a color, an odd color, something from a specific, even if the tape's trashed, I save those cases in the artwork for it. You can sell just groups of the artwork from cassettes to people as well sometimes. And I'll run into tapes, regularly. I'm not going to give out some of my BOLO list on tapes, but there's some tapes that I run into because it's local here, and I always save the empty ones, or any of that stuff. You can even, let's say you get a damaged tape, but the printing, the sticker on it's great. Those can be swapped out. I'm just going to tell you. I'll give you a little hint there. You can repair a tape by replacing an original with one, the original sticker on one side and putting it on a new one. That's something you can do, just FYI. So I do all that kind of stuff. And again, like Carl's talking about, you need to make sure it's there. If it's not, don't sell it, but you can replace that. It does slide in and out, and it will take a little bit of work, but it is something you can do at your house with no big deal at all. Maybe I'll even show that in a video here or something, but now, if you're buying it from, talking about Valhalla 56, he's talking about doesn't recommend buying anything from eBay. I'm having the same issues with items sent from Amazon. Just so you know, it's not just there, or Etsy or any other of the sites. It has nothing necessarily to do. I have FedEx stuff running late. I'm right this very second have a UPS item that's like a week late. Right this very second. So I don't just say it's a eBay or a post office issue, and that's not eBay's fault. eBay's not the one that controls any of that aspect. So, I don't have a problem with buying from eBay. It's the best source for most collectibles and most vintage any way you go. There is no comparable source to it. I had somebody make a comment that eBay's a monopoly, and they got a little irritated at a conversation. eBay isn't a monopoly in the sense of the monopolies we talk about all the time. eBay is a monopoly only because no one else has stepped up or figured out how to get up to that level. They were the first, and they had all this free time when no one else was challenging them. So, of course, they're the biggest one out there. They're not stopping anybody from entering into the market at all, though. That's the difference between a monopoly. A monopoly is intentionally stopping someone from getting into the market to challenge them. Amazon is a perfect example of why eBay is not a monopoly. Amazon overtook eBay overall, in general, massively. They're like 6, 7, 8, 10 times as big as eBay, and they started off after eBay was already around. So it's not a monopoly. Just FYI. Yeah, I had items from England show up really quick. We got some more Weebles in from England, as a matter of fact, and they came in really quick. Post office has been improving with stuff, actually. So yeah, eBay is warning. eBay is warning that stuff is going on, but so is the post office. They're just reiterating what's going on. I see them on Amazon, too, with delay notices. Right now, as I said, I've got something delayed. It was supposed to have been here 2 days ago. It's now projected for September 4th. And this is on Amazon, so it's not a site exclusive. I'm not going to dog eBay for the issue necessarily. Yeah, I'm not for the amount of volume I'm selling, for the amount of strays or issues or aggravation I have to deal with at the post office. It's not enough to deter me from doing anything that I'm doing. I'm thinking longevity. There's always bumps in the road. I'm working by it. My customers are still happy. If you're running late on something, you keep constantly check them. Check and see what's being delivered. It only takes a few extra minutes so you can figure out if there's some delays. Let them know it looks like it's delayed. Let them know that you're tracking it before they realize it. That's your best bet to do it, and you'll stop any of those folks being upset. Refer them to the U.S. Postal Service stating that they have delays. As I said, I had one guy that was just I blocked him because of the way he accused me of one thing, then he accused me of another. He accused me of being political, and I'm like, I'm not being political at all. I'm telling you that they're delayed and they're not running the same route. And he thought that was being political. I can't tell him anything but what the post office is stating. I know the post office has removed machines. I know that they're changing the routes of delivery. I'm not saying they're doing it to mess things up. I'm just stating a fact, and I was attacked by this gentleman. Again, and it wasn't even late when this happened, so anyway. Again, I haven't had any high percentage of anything. It's like 1 or 2% of what we got going out that's having any issues. It's not enough to affect business. Again, if you're only selling a certain amount of items, and you're having 1 or 2 or half of your items because you're only selling a certain amount, there may be an issue with that. Yeah, and I've been going around with prices for first class. I have some options available. I'm not going to shut them out until I can give some prices and maybe some other options, but there are a few other ways to get some first class, close to first class shipping rates. But again, they're all reliant on air transportation. I don't care who you're going through. They're all reliant on air and transportation in general. So they all could have these same transportation issues. As I said, I'm having issues with FedEx. I'm having issues with UPS and the whole works too. And I have accounts with all of them. Dig it thus. How are you doing from Metro Detroit? With UPS, FedEx, you can use your own boxes. You don't have to have their boxes. Let's see here. Now I noticed, like, if you want to know areas, Detroit is a mess for having package issues. Phoenix is a mess for having package issues. If I mail out a package from my house and I want to send it 4 miles away to the next city over, it goes to Detroit, 35 miles or better away, just to get sorted, just to come back over here, because they're closing down sourcing. This is back, who knows how long ago they did that, maybe a year or two ago. So, I can't blame, what's going on with current people in charge of that aspect of it. And I'm not trying to turn anything political either, so. If you're in southern Indiana, you're going through Detroit. If you're going from southern Indiana as well, and you got to go to CA, California, you're going through Phoenix possibly. So if you go through Phoenix, which is part of the problem there. So, you're hitting two key areas if you're going through Indiana. Stuff may go to Detroit first. And why does it go to Detroit? Because the airport's there, and the U.S. Postal Service does have flights that go out of Detroit, from what I understand, shipping off these packages priority. If there's delays at Detroit, if there's delays for this, or it's a sorting issue, that's what's being delayed, and that's why it's being delayed from what I can see. I read a lot of stuff on it, and I went to the post office. I've talked to a lot of people trying to figure out if there's anything I could get a way around it, but Mia Seacrest, how are you doing? Twice as long in some cases, but customers were forewarned and took it pretty well. Yeah, as I said, I've only had one issue with the customer. If you haven't had anything lost and delays, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, it's not your fault. If you're not shelling out refunds left and right, I wouldn't worry about it. And you don't have to refund until it's been lost for more than 10 days. So let's say it hasn't showed up. You're talking about it taking double the time. Priority mail is supposed to be there in 3 or 4 days. It's there in a week. Even if it's there in 10 days and it's still moving through that time, you're still not going to have to refund them. They have to open up a case to claim it. It has to be lost for more than 10 days. eBay is supposed to be giving extra days because of the pandemic. So you shouldn't have to refund anything, as you're saying. So there isn't any issue other than having to deal with customers. This is going to happen. You've got to be able to take the grief and not worry about it, because the end result, the end of the day, is it's your business. If you want to do this full time, you're going to have to accept those types of issues. It's just like loss and theft. If you're working in a brick and mortar, you're going to have to accept those sorts of issues. There's no way around it. It's a cost of doing business. You can like it or not, but that's a cost of doing business. And a lot of people just don't like when I say it's a cost of doing business. We shouldn't have to lose. We shouldn't have to deal with this. Well, this is the real world. In real life, you got to deal with all these issues. I'm not trying to belittle or make light of the situation, but I don't worry about it. I don't try to let it aggravate me or anything else when something happens. It's not my fault. I'm doing what I can to fix it. The customer's not happy. I can't change that. The item's going to be delayed. It's going to be delayed. It's not your fault. eBay knows it's not your fault. And again, as long as there is tracking showing up, less than 10 days apart, you're fine. Even if it takes 30 technically days to get there, it's still moving. It's not lost. It's still in delivery mode. Yeah, Annie's talking about it too. She's northeast and have had a few delays and one mysteriously totally lost item. Not too bad. Yeah, I would say that's not too bad, honestly, either. David G., sorting centers, some are wickedly slow. Now, some of them are slow because they're getting massive amounts of mail because other ones may be closed. It may not even be an issue with upper management of the post office closing something. They may not have enough staff that's not wanting to come in, or sick or temp or whatever the case may be. It may not even totally be related to anything else other than shortages in staff because of the pandemic. I'm going to give them the benefit because my local delivery people are great. I don't have issues like that. I did once or twice way back in the day when we first moved to the area we're at now, but I don't have those issues. They're helpful. I don't blame the lonely person delivering my mail for the issues. It's not their fault. I have people say they don't work very well, they're lazy and stuff like that. The ones that I deal with aren't. I would no way want to stand in the post office and hear the stuff that people say to them. And the ladies at our post office, the majority of them, not the people running the post office locally, but the day-to-day workers are all great. They do a lot. They're standing on their feet, they're running around, they're doing anything they can and offering any extra benefit they can. Whatever they can do. They give you pens, they give you tape sometimes if you need it, though. Even final wrap some of your stuff if need be at ours. I don't know how everybody else is, but I'm fine with the post office. Yeah, with the UPS, I just open up the case, online, and I just let it be at that. I don't mess with calling. If the item is tracking still, and this is what I've been told by 3 different people at the post office and 2 different postmasters, if it's still tracking, it still shows it's moving through the system. It just may be taking a longer route than usual because of delays or changes. There's not much they will do by just calling. So if it's in traction, if it's still being moved, I don't bother calling. It's just a waste of my time, and you're going to be on the phone a lot. That's my personal take. Now, if it's stuck in a specific location, maybe it'll do you some good. But around here, calling Detroit's just a lost cause. No disrespect to anybody from Detroit, but it's a lost cause because they don't answer the phone. It's almost impossible to get somebody on the phone in some of these locations. Hey, Penny Day, how are you doing this evening? Good to see you in. Again, we've got 100 and almost 180 people in the house today. I got 92 likes. I'd really love to get to 100 before I end the show tonight. So if you are enjoying the conversation, it does help the channel somewhat if you hit the thumbs up. It does show some traction-wise. I just had a customer whose package was lost back in May just tell me they got the package this past Monday. Again, I've heard those oddball cases. It does happen. Payment processor won't do any good because eBay is doing all the process. Everything goes through eBay. You can't just call Aiden, just FYI. Yeah, the eBay glitch thing, if I use eBay, which I hardly ever do anymore, it's all through InkFrog, I do see the glitches. On InkFrog, I haven't had a single glitch whatsoever in listing anything, which I'm really surprised. It's InkFrog's own API. They designed it. They set it up. So maybe it bypasses some of the other system, would be my guess. Because you're not using any of their listing stuff or any of that aspect when you're in InkFrog. Blotchy, yeah, I could see that. Hey, right, how are you doing? Glitchy, yeah, glitchy for sure. Pensions are a luxury these days, yes. Valhalla 5-6, I have spent more time on eBay the last month than in the last 20 years per month. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or bad thing, but again, if things are late, I just open the case, I keep watching them, and I move on. I don't let it bug me. It's just one little aspect of the business and stuff. I still got money rolling in. I'm still listing new things. I've got employees. I've got purchases that we got coming in. I've got, inventory coming in. The shipping delays are just a tiny little aspect. It's just a little bump in the road compared to all the other things you got to worry about. Moronic Pest, how you doing? Recommending a standardized eBay message to give each customer explaining that the post office is experiencing delays due to the pandemic. Again, I do have standardized emails for pretty much everything. I send those out as well. That is a good recommendation, Moronic Pest. Yeah, Kathy Reese, I'm going to do this till I check out. That's my take on it too. Yeah, I don't think Aiden's going to be any aspect. I think literally everything has to go through eBay. Anything to do with eBay, eBay's going to have to okay Aiden to talk to you about. So you talking to Aiden's going to do nothing. eBay is in control of all the process and everything that's going on in it. Everything Aiden's done is just for eBay with eBay's account. So calling eBay is your only recourse. Let's see here. Amazon Seller 99. How are you doing this evening? Yeah, this is a background I've used before. Yeah, future planning. I know we're way back in here. eBay Addicts, how are you doing this evening? Good to see you in. Penny pinching is the only way to do it. Every penny I save is a penny I'm going to have when I go to retire. Buy COVID insurance. Good luck on finding COVID insurance. Most even business policies that I see, if you didn't already have it, aren't including anything. All pandemic in general are not included on most every insurance policy you're going to find out there right this very second. I promise you that. Right now, the government's trying to stop people from being able to sue all these big companies for losses and deaths and things. So you're not going to be able to find COVID insurance or any pandemic insurance in my book. Now, we have a carrier. We had pandemic insurance. They're trying to drop it right now. It's in court over it right now, from what I understand. Steve Elmore, how are you doing this evening? Good to see you in as well. Yeah, good luck finding the COVID insurance, as I said. I buy bullion, I put it in a safe and forget about it. Gemstones too, mostly emeralds and tourmaline. I like it all. I don't save too much these days like that. Kathy, yeah, planning what you can leave the kids. Yeah, I would like to have something so they would have revenue still coming in if something happened to me or the wife. Once you have it built up to a certain point, it's like an autopilot almost. I could spend less time and still be comfortable and still have this money coming in, at a comparable level as I have been. But I put the extra time in because of the future, because I need to have a certain amount in the bank. I want to have, at my age, I've got time enough to get a couple million in the bank. I know that may sound crazy, but after a long enough time, it builds up. I don't spend much money. I don't travel. I don't buy fancy clothes. I don't buy fancy cars. I could care less what somebody thinks about a car with some rust or anything like that in it. Who cares? It doesn't float my boat, I guess you could say. It's not a thrill to me to go out and buy a new car. If I had 10 million in the bank, I don't know if I'd still buy it. I'd just buy a car. I don't really care. I'm not impressed anymore by cars. Back in the day, I used to love the hot rods, and I had a 5.0 Mustang and, all that stuff. I had them all hot rodded up, but now I don't care. I'm more worried about the future and what will be left for my kids and stuff. Maybe it's because of my age and where I'm at in my life, I don't know. Take it as you will, I guess. Retirement planning is important, but people are going to do what they want to do. Most just won't plan ahead. Yeah, I'm trying to plan ahead. The only recourse I have is to make sure I'm safe, and I got to do it now. I can't wait till I'm ready to retire and hope, oh wow, I'm going to get a whole bunch of money in. It's hot right now, so that's why I'm busting as much hours. 14-hour days is what I'm doing. Again, I have to look at my schedule, but I think it's been like 17 or 18 days straight, 14-hour days of work, not 14 straight, but, I'll do 5, stop, 5, 6, whatever. But that's 14 hours average a day in work time. I'm pumped on it, though, because I'm so close. I can feel that next jump up in the business that I want to get it while it's going. You got to hit it while it's hot. That's key to this. And I'm for sure at this point, this was the hottest time the internet has been ever in my lifetime is right this minute, in my personal opinion, from what I see. How you handle it and what you do with that is on you. If you're not taking advantage of this time and figure you're going to coast through fourth quarter will get you all the money, you're just not buckling down and thinking business-wise or for your future as much as you should be. Again, it comes right back down to being short-sighted. What are your expectations from being a full-time reseller? Being a full-time reseller means more than just going day by day or working week by week or, wow, I made $100,000 this year. A lot of people can make $100,000 reselling on eBay. Well, I'm not going to say make. You can sell $100,000 without too much problem. Most people won't be able to make a $100,000 profit right. It's going to take you a long time. But you got to realize that that's only going to go so far. You got to keep getting ahead. As I said, if you're only listing 50 items a week and you're selling 50 items a week, you're stuck. You're not going anywhere. You're in a dead-end line because you can't break free of that 50 items you're able to list or whatever that number. Maybe it's 500 a week you can list and you're selling 500 a week. Whatever the case may be, you've got to keep getting so many more over the week before or over the month before to grow the business. With the free listings, there's no excuse if you're into collectibles. And I'm sure most people watch the channel. Got 192 people on. Most people who watch the channel are probably into collectibles and vintage, or at least want to know something about them. If a market's going to die, it hasn't been vintage or collectibles for us in the 25 years we've been doing this. I have been able to sell vintage and collectibles since day one. Nothing has changed. The same collectibles I sold 25 years or ago on eBay, I could still sell for as much as I sold them for then or more today. The same items. My first item that I sold was an 8mm 20-minute Star Wars home movie in color with sound, and I got like $45 for it. That same one now is around $55 or $60 still. So I paid $1 for it. That's the type of thing that I think about. Most of what I sell and deal with, that I show you guys again, is stuff that the market usually doesn't drop off. Baseball cards, that may drop off. Some of the trading cards may drop off. But the truly historic stuff, which is where we're trying to steer most of our business, doesn't drop off. Like the button market. A button from like a specific Confederate officer's uniform or something, maybe $1,000 nowadays. 20 years ago, it was $500 or $600. It hasn't changed. It's still going up. I know cost of inflation and all, it may still be in the same range, but I'm not losing anything. I'm still paying cheap nothing for the items. You got to be able to see the future, what you want for the future, I guess. Not read the future, of course, but let's see here. Let's go back in here. Mia, yes, plan A, B, and C. If you didn't sit there and look at what your business structure is after you signed up and got into managed payments, or once you realize managed payments are going to include, with a premium store, 50,000 more free listings, you should be doing that. You should try to figure out a way to be able to bomb it with as many items as you're not paying any more listing fees for all those items. You're paying your flat, like the premium store, $59.99, and you're getting 50,000 listings these days for that price. eBay, that's the best thing eBay has done in years. That is the best thing they have done. And if it comes with managed payments, I'm fine with that, in all honesty. I'm saving $12,000 a year because of managed payments and that the free listings. I got a video on that, and those numbers are real. That's real numbers. That's really what I'm saving. I spell it all out for you in math on that video. This is literally the best thing they did. So there are some bad issues with managed payments. Don't get me wrong at all. And eBay is having glitches, because I do see them as well too. But it's nothing different than what I saw 10 years ago in fee structure or glitch issues, or 20 years ago or 5 years ago. Every site I've been on, there's some sort of glitch. Amazon has them. Etsy has them. Walmart has them. Discogs, every site I sell on has glitches like that. I don't worry about the glitches. I just, again, figure out how I'm going to get past them and not worry about what happens with that. It doesn't affect me still being able to sell. Yeah, it takes me a couple extra moments to reload a page or have to go back in and resend an offer if I'm doing offers through eBay or something. The end of the day is, again, all of that's a small percentage of what you guys do day to day. Guys, gals, girls, I'm sorry. Again, you're thinking about small stuff when you're worrying about that stuff. I know it's aggravating, especially when you're first starting. You're relying on this, and it's hurting your income. But if a few shipping issues are hurting your income, you're going to have to buckle down and get more items up to sell so you can have more revenue coming in. So the amount of issues are far less than they were before. That's my take. Quantity rules the day for us. And I won't say anything other than that, because that's what rules our day. If it wasn't for quantity, we wouldn't be selling as much as I am right now. And for as much as we do. Again, with our ploy, I mark up stuff pretty high. Again, within reason. It's prices that, things at a higher end auction would go for. It's not some made up price for the most part. It's within range of what comparable items sell for. And I may not sell as many items as some other folks, but I'm selling them for way more than them. So I'm doing less work, but yet I'm still making more money than them. I can, compare side by side to people in the same range, and I sell less items than some people in some cases. But again, my income's far greater than them because of the ploy. With the quantity I have up, I don't have to worry as much as somebody else. You have to maybe have a sell-through rate and stuff because you've got a limited, not a specific person, but anybody. Let's say you have so many listings, 1,000 listings up. You got a higher sell-through rate, and you're worrying about a sell-through rate. You got NOS, you've got mixed stores. I don't have to worry about any of that. I don't care if something sells right away because I've got so much stuff up that a certain percentage always sells. Even if somebody says, hey, that's only such and such a minuscule amount of a sell-through rate. The amount of money that I'm making from that minuscule amount is so good that it doesn't matter to me. I honestly don't pay attention to a sell-through rate in most of what we sell. If it's an NOS item, a RA'd FBA item on Amazon, I do pay attention to sell-through rate. That's a different story. You got to know the items that you were selling and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. Now, if I'm going into a new area, I do look at a sell-through rate to make sure that that area or those items have some initial aspect that they're going to sell. If I determine that a sell-through rate's at a certain percentage, say 50% of the items sell every 90 days, I probably will mess with those items. I'll put them up, but I won't care if they sell immediately. Again, I'll push for the volume aspect of it. I know there's people who look at and follow some of my listings and things like that. If you do that, and you see sometimes I'll list 300 of the same thing within a day or two, that's another ploy. Again, as I said earlier in the show here, listing a bunch in the same category drums up more views, it drums up more interest, and it'll attract more people to you in general over somebody else because you'll have just flooded a category in a specific category like collectibles, postcards or something with similar items, and if that person collects those items, you're going to have more up than anybody else immediately. That's why I get multiple sales to the same person on a daily basis, multiple times every single day of the week these days. That drives our business. I don't have to sell anything right away. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do that. This is what works for us, and this is from my experience of doing this for years and years and years and years. Going back to why I'm the auction professor, I don't do many auctions. I started off with auctions. Auctions ran the day. Auctions were eBay. That's what eBay was, and that's where I come from, so hence the auction professor. I've always liked that name years and years ago, but anyway. eBay addicts. Right, I have a pension as well, but I do not expect it to be worth anything in 35 to 40 years from now. Yeah, cost of living is going to increase. We know what we're going to get when it's retirement time from Walt Disney World. Because, again, we worked for the Disney company for 10 years each for me and the wife. They paid off the rest of our pension when we left. They offered us a package deal to retire. A big, big, long thing. Let's see here. Yeah, Kathy, I will. I honestly, I got them sitting here. Dom's seen some pictures of some of them while we've been working on them. We've ordered professional printed rack cards. We've created our own vacuum-formed bubbles. What holds like a vintage Star Wars 3 3/4 inch figure on, you got the rack card. We're doing rack cards similar to that. The bubble is the clear plastic that holds the figure in. We've created those here. I've made the mold. I have a vacuum table, and we created those here. I can make and produce with staff like 100 action figures or 100 of our toys every single day of the week. So we're going to try and push it up on our own with the hopes of getting picked up at New York Toy Fair next year. That is my hope. And it would just be a sideline, and we could just do similar things to what other people do. Now, I've got an email in the works to Benny again from Tenacious Toys, and we're going to try and get him on the channel. We're going to talk to a toy guy. Again, I've got two companies that deal with toys that will take our toys right now. So, again, I know that's not reselling, so to speak, but there's so many other ways. Having multiple revenue streams is so darn important these days, it's not even funny. Anybody who's got a secondary skill, you can be making money on it so many different ways. There's sites that you can do a video on how to do something, and people will pay like for certain things. There's a bunch of different sites that do that. I've hollered out some in the past as well, too. There's a lot to do that. There's a lot of other options where you can cobble together several different companies and businesses. So if you're not making a fortune on eBay, you can have a little bit coming in from here. There's one that I've used now for hiring for voices. They'll do voiceovers. Anybody can sign up for a site. There's people on there who have sold thousands of dollars of just them saying a 30-second voiceover for somebody. There's people who do video service for people. There's people who edit photos, and that's where they get their money from. $20 an hour, whatever they charge for it. For a straight hour, they'll edit photos for you. They're basically VAs. A VA doesn't have to be someone who lists for you. They can do so many other things for you. I don't use VAs, though. I've got employees. We're in a unique situation where my kids' friends are great employees. They've helped out a great bit, and I've got that resource. It's a lot harder to pull somebody off the street, and I do realize that. I do understand that. Colleges are fairly good sources for employees. If there's some incentive you can offer them, it's a plus. You could advertise through the university, part-time, you'll work around their schedule or whatever the case may be. But you got to take it seriously, and you would want to get an accountant to do that if you're going to hire off the street or if you're going to hire family. I have an accountant that just does our payroll for us. Again, it's not hard. I pay $50 for 12 employees, $50 a month for all of the services that they provide. And that, prior to this, was even doing our income tax, or not income tax, our sales tax. Your accountant can do that as well too. Eggs, baskets, yeah. Don't put them all in the same basket. Have many eggs in many different baskets. To be young again. I'm not young, but I fully want to take advantage of what's going on and where I'm at in my life. There are some people who know my birthday just happened a week or so ago, but I've had some people reach out. No offense taken if you didn't know that or anything else like that. I don't really announce that. There's a few people who, I'll say unfortunately, know my birthday, but I despise garage sales anymore by me. All baby clothes and overpriced home goods stuff. Bigot thus. Yes, I'm not a fan of garage sales anymore at all. There's only been 3 in my local area that I could even say I've even seen, and I had no interest in going to them anymore. I don't go to the thrift stores. I don't even go to antique malls. I don't even know if they're open right now. The Crab Shack I was tempted to go to the other day. I didn't do that though, but that's about it. My pickers and auctions are at this point the best sources I can get. And I am not sourcing unless somebody contacts me with something really good. Or if I'm worried about losing a picker, I might just show up, mask and gloves in hand, and just see what they got and buy something just so that I can keep them in touch with me. Hang on just a second here. Generally don't look at my phone ever, but I do once in a while. Oh, thanks. That was dumb. Unfortunately, I didn't even think to look at my phone, but yeah, I'm bad on not paying attention to things. I get into my mode, and I'm into talk mode here. Thanks everybody for the likes. We got 221 on right this second. I do appreciate everybody on tonight, of course. Let's go back to expectations one more time here. Didn't even look at the time. I looked at my phone and I didn't check the time. We'll go for just a few more minutes there. This is my relaxed time, I guess. Another what's going on. We'll hit expectations in just a minute. I'll do expectations one last time before when we're on the goodbye chat there. Shoot, what was I just going to say? Darn it, I totally lost my train of thought. Hopefully everybody else does that. Maybe that's just my age. Shoot, I can't remember what I was just going to shout out to you. I got all my notes, and that's the one thing I didn't write down. Patreon, I'll shoot that out. Patreon video is up today. It's already up before the show. Patreon video will be up tomorrow. Another YouTube video will be up tomorrow. Oh, World of Weebles. The next Weeble video should be up Sunday. We spent some time on this one. This one has pricing in it from this point on. We reshot the center of 4 videos just to add some pricing information. So the biggest comment we got was there's no prices in the video. So we took heart, and I listened, and we did add prices in there. So you're going to see prices on what those stuff go for that we're showing out in the next video. The next video is the most popular, sought-after Weeble there is, which is the Haunted Mansion Ghosts. We're going to go into some other things, some other side figures and things that came out with the same line as the haunted house in there. That is the most sought-after Weebles toy you will find, and it's really one of the nicest ones. It's one of the first big sets. That one's coming out. I make an appearance in that as well, too. Again, it's the Patreon. You've already seen the first 3 minutes of it. You will have, I think, the completed video tomorrow evening. and a 2-day preview for those in Patreon for those wishing to see it. I know some patrons, it's not their cup of tea. No disrespect or offense ever taken on something like that. There's things that I don't like that, so no problem at that. But that will be coming out very shortly. I'm looking at like a 2-week time frame. I do have some videos done for the Art Professor, but again, I just haven't had much time to do anything with them. The postcard, I've got 2 videos for the postcard. If Ian, one of my employees, did come back, they're all in college, everybody I got working for me now. If he has time tomorrow when he's in, I will probably have him see about maybe doing one of those videos or uploading them. Just FYI. Let's see here. I have an opportunity to obtain some stock from a source. Don't have room and worried I will overpay. Don't want to lose the source. That's a good point. If I don't know, though, I won't shell out the money. If I'm not sure, I never take a chance on lots of money. $5-10. If I'm buying a massive quantity and it really looks like there's a good chance, I might spend a few bucks, $50-100 on something. Especially if I'll be able to just bulk it out if worst case scenario. If let's say I spend $100 on a lot and it's just nothing really spectacular to sell on eBay, but it's a big lot, if I buy it that way, I usually can sell it at a local auction and still make some money back on it. At least I'll get my money back and won't be out a dime even for my time. At least that's how I look at it. Yeah, Gail, I do love estate sales, but I haven't been to one this entire year. There hasn't been, I think, one that I went to all year in estate sales. I haven't been to a garage sale this entire year. I've only been maybe, if the wife was here, I could ask her, but I think we've only been to a thrift store maybe twice this year, in all honesty. I'm trying to think. I can't even tell you when I've been to any of those sourcing venues. Ken Albrecht, I've watched gold go up, down significantly 4 times since 1964. All the gains do is preserve cost of living versus Nirvana imagined. Watching you now reminds me of myself, late 1960s, early 70s. Well, hopefully that's a good thing and not a bad thing. I get better stuff picking the trash. Yeah, over garage sales. You can in some cases. I've picked stuff out of the trash. I don't have any problem or issues with doing that either. Look into short-term storage rental and factor pricing. Yeah, I don't rent any space for storage, honestly. But if you got to do that, you got to do that. If I'm going to do something, I'm probably going to buy a building and use it for multiple purpose. Or we were planning on moving into a big place with a warehouse building on the property already. Would be my best bet. The wife wants to live out in the country near one of the parks, which is what we've been, that's what we're heading for. We want to just buy the property, be done with it, pay cash, and not have to worry about it. No monthly payments or nothing else like that. I don't care if it's a semi-fixer-upper. I can do construction. I can pretty much build anything. Again, good advice, David, if that's the case for some people. Yeah, Valhalla 5-6 talking about, and I'm not going to use the wording, but yeah, people do want money, but when I look at the free listings, you are getting a value for it. And I've offset the 30-cent fee. I've offset a lot of what the fee structure is. And if, let's say, someone buys from multiple different purchases and I'm getting billed for each one and stuff, I can offset that when I combine shipping and just remove that amount. So I'm not on anything on the shipping aspect of it. It's pretty much the same thing for the most part as it was before. But now I get 50,000 plus free listings. I'll take a 0.25% increase in fees to have that many more listings. Again, I'm saving $1,000 a month. Weigh the options. When I first started, the structure of eBay was totally different. So this is a move up. I don't have a problem with a business trying to recoup more of the revenue. Again, you'd still be paying it to eBay partially and Amazon, or not Amazon, into PayPal. Now you're just paying it all to eBay. For some people, they're going to save some money. I've looked into it. It's a fact, but a large chunk won't save any money. You're not going to really lose. You'll save money now, though, because of the free listings. $12,000. I can buy a car with how much eBay is giving away to me because of the amount of listings we had. Prior to managed payments, I was paying for 15,000, 20,000 extra listings per store at 5 cents a listing. That's thousands and thousands of dollars extra that I was paying. on a monthly basis, basically, across the board. So them cutting it off is a big bonus. Even if I'm paying 0.25% at the end of the year, I come out ahead by thousands over what I was paying. Even if the fees are more, the amount of money I'm saving from not having to pay for any extra listings dwarfs any extra increase in fees that I may have to pay. Again, big picture, small picture. Look at the long haul version of this. Don't be the short-sighted aspect of this. Everything goes up year by year, and in all honesty, even if this was like a cost of markets increase, it's still not that bad when you consider the factor of the free listing. It's a game changer for us. I never have to worry if I want to save a few bucks in listings by not listing something or not. I can just list it all, as long as it has potential to sell. Yeah, Susanna, that's what I said. I don't want to get a storage unit, actually, at all. Yeah, like Kathy's saying, for those in Patreon, it's in one of the videos. I don't know if it's in the one that went up today, but we're going to be selling off some bulk records, good stuff, not junk, just because I've got so much stuff here. I'm trying to accommodate the smalls. My smalls have just dominated everything we've got. I've got more smalls than I know what to do with right now, and I've got tens of thousands of records that are taking up a lot of space, and I literally need to get rid of like 5,000 or 10,000 LPs that I handpicked that are all good. So I'm going to be sourcing it out to the folks in Patreon as well. There's probably 50 pounds of sheet music. There's probably some other things here, but you'll get, for those in Patreon, I've got a list of a first choice person who's already contacted me. I think there are going to be lots of like 50 LPs. Again, you'll see the manifest of what's going on. I do believe we're going to type something up, and you can check out the prices yourself. I'm not going to sell something that you're not going to make okay money on. I'm just going to put it out there. I need the space. I'm going to be going, as again, we've changed our plan, our business plan. We're going to be going to smaller and smaller stuff that I can fit more and more of it, especially now with the amount of free listings I got. So that's part of my business plan change. We're going to not mess with certain big, I'm still going to sell 78s, I'm still going to sell 45s, and we will still sell the higher end LPs, but anything say under $30 or so, I'm probably not going to mess with at all on LP wise. Again, just for sheer time and space consideration. I need that space now for studio space is what we're doing with. I got another project going on the side. We've been working on some animation for a good year now, and things are starting to go off. Again, like with the toys and stuff, all that kind of ties into some other stuff we're working on that's behind the scenes that I don't maybe necessarily talk about at all on the channel. Once I get back with in the groove of things with the art professor, you'll see some of the other lines of things we've got going on. Again, diversification is like key to anything you're doing. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, and don't be fixated on eBay, or Poshmark. My honest and sincere opinion from watching every other site that's been on here, how they change and sway with the market. Poshmark, McCrary, all those sites are going to have similar changes as what you see what's happened to eBay and Amazon and Walmart. They're minuscule compared to eBay and all that. So I know people can make a living on there right now, but it's going to change. It's the Wild West just like it was for every other site. Every site I've ever seen goes through the same changes, the same structural changes, where rules are instigated, where they're having issues, where they want to do something well with stocks and things like that. You can't do that when you're not doing returns. You can't do that when you're forcing this upon somebody. You can't do that in certain aspects. They're all going to hit that barrier at some point, would be my guess. And it's going to be a level playing field for those same rules on every site, just as you see eBay doing now. Don't count on it staying that way. Cover yourself and go to a different site as well. Stay where you're at. Don't give up what you're making, but have backup plans. Like we were talking to me, I think said plan A, B, and C. Hopefully it was me. I don't want to get people mixed up, but that's my take on it. That's the truth. That's my true, honest feelings on what you should be working on. If you're on Poshmark and you're making $20,000 a month or whatever you're doing on Poshmark, Poshmark's going to change at some point. Every site does it. Anybody who's been on Amazon, even in the last 3 years, Amazon's changed a lot of things. Even just the structure of Seller Central has changed. Even with the notices and the boards that they have to post up there on my Seller Central, things move around. Things change. There's new options. There's new things to do. There's things you got to set up and all kinds of other options. Like Amazon adding the B2B option on there. That was great. I was happy to see that. I didn't even know they had it until it popped up on my Seller Central one day. I'm sorry, that's business to business. They have a separate like site selling option to sell business from your business to another business, so you can sell wholesale to somebody else and just be done with it. You don't have to worry about piecing them out. Let somebody else deal with it. Again, I haven't had any bad switch to managed payments. Everything's been good as far as I'm concerned, money-wise and everything else. Moronic Pest, sourcing should be an easier part of reselling. Actually getting it all listed is the harder part, involving more work. Depends on what you're selling, Moronic Pest, I guess. If I'm selling, I got 10,000 postcards, I can scan hundreds and hundreds of them with that DS510 Epson I have in an hour. And to list a postcard, you're only doing 2 pictures, so to list a postcard's under a minute. And no exaggeration, I can do a postcard through InkFrog in less than a minute, every single one. So if I'm running that way, I can list 60 an hour. And again, one person will scan them one day, they'll scan hundreds or even thousands in one day. I got a couple of scanners, so if I wanted 2 people to do it. Even if you're by yourself, if you're centering in on items that are easy to list, it's no brainer. Why would I want to ditch off some of the LPs? LPs take twice as long to list. I've got to do 4 photos. So again, I'm worrying about quantity. I'm worrying about volume. As I said, I've switched up my store now. We switched up our business plan. Volume is going to rule my day because now I'm not paying any extra for it. So I'm going at the volume route. I'm not going to worry about things that are going to take a little longer to list. Clothing took 5 or 6 images for every item and measurements. So clothing was 4 or 5 times as much time it took for me to list a piece of clothing than it does for me to list a piece of paper, a postcard, a trade card, or anything like that. Even the media items, if I'm listing a slide, it's 1 scan. I can set up 4 in my scanner at a time or more, depending on. There's scanners that will scan slides like 1 every 10 seconds or less. It'll scoop it in there, scan it, scoop it, scoop, 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 and you just stack them up, just like you can stack the postcards on the DS510. That's the only reason I'm going to probably liquidate some records, just because it takes more time. Again, I'm trying for the small stuff. All the small stuff takes no time to list. So again, I'm avoiding anything. I've avoided, first off, we crossed out selling expensive electronics and stuff unless we piece them out. I don't have any returns on parts and pieces from electronics, so hence I do it that way. They're small. It's easy. Once it's taken apart, it's just a part. So I know everything's called in a reel-to-reel. Those are usually what I take a lot apart, or a record player, tone arms, and all that kind of stuff. Selling things that are easier to list is a big bonus for us. I know everybody can't do that, but if you're able to, it's always the best. Other options, again, for listing stuff is replenishables. I can get 100 of the same item, and I've got 100 sales there if it's a sellable item, if it's got a good sell-through rate. Again, I only do sell-through rate with NOS, RA items, and FBA and merchant fulfilled. That's the only ones that are worth it for me because I don't care about the collectibles. I'm old school. The collectible market is a antique basis. Antique store. Antique stores put a bunch of stuff out there. It sells or it doesn't sell. You mark it down if it sits for a long time. And you don't worry about what sells or doesn't sell. There's no sell-through rate in an antique mall. Excuse me. I mean, somebody may put one to it, but I don't care about that. So, those are just thoughts. No disrespect to anybody. Nothing meant towards you, Moronic Pest, or anything like that. For me, the comments I hear the most are people can't find the items to source. They don't know how to get the real good stuff. Their average sale is like $10 or less. If you're including shipping, it's just not worth it. If you're not making money on something, you shouldn't be doing this business. Don't sell it if you're not making money. It's the best recommendations I can say. Sourcing for me is easy. Ken Albright, I'm semi-retired, 72 with no kids. Sibling my goals with eBay is to pare down conspicuous consumption, so when I become senile, most of the access is gone. Okay. You don't have to wait a week to get your money. You can set it up to get paid every single day if you want. Once you may have to wait for the first initial one, but after that, it rolls in routinely every single day if that's what you set it up. I set mine up for the week. You have an option. You don't have to wait for a week for it. And I do wait a week because then there's always money in there. If I do a refund, it's always just sitting there. You know, I don't worry about it. Again, I haven't had any issues with it, honestly. And I don't worry about supplies from USPS. I charge. I don't send anything out that way. I just charge my customers. Amazon people use U.S. Postal Service as well. So again, and all the other ones are having issues also. Yeah. Chasm Stickle, yeah. First class, the small packages are what's taken me all the longest time. Another eBay glitch buyer said $2.54 shipping. I went to pay for the label. It was $3.52. I called eBay after half hour and 3 people. They finally said that they could credit me back the difference. That sounds to me like it's a first class package, and your discount rate should be $2.54. Well, it should be $2.64, I would say. I would check Mobile Wizard just to make sure that you don't have it set on the discount rate. You may be passing. I don't know. That sounds a little odd. It's such a close figure with that. Sometimes I've seen people they'll have one weight in there, and it's just a guesstimate. And then when they go to mail it out, they actually weigh the item, and they don't even pay attention that the weight's different from what they originally had in. If you go up 1 ounce in your package, it could change the difference right there. So if your initial weight was wrong, you're not sure on the weight, or you just put a guesstimate, and the final item weighed more than that, the price is going to be more. Again, I don't know that's the issue, but I hear and find out for sure that's a large chunk of the people who have that difference. Not everybody, I'm sure. Hey, Craig, Landshark Picker in the house. How you doing, Craig? Another YouTuber here. He's got a pretty darn good channel. I've watched some of his videos as well. He's even been in one of my videos back in the day. I think there's a 1-year commitment for eBay stores. I know you can upgrade, but Amazon Seller 99, there is, and I did a video literally on that. My withdrawal date is in February. Now, I've had a dozen people or better tell me that if you call and say because of the pandemic, they've been letting you out of that without a hit fee. I haven't dropped it as of yet, but I'm going to. I've got a lot of other things going on, and we've been going back and forth on whether we want to lose the phone support or not, but I chances are I will just do it. It's an extra $220 in my pocket. You know, it would be, what's that equate to at the end of the year? It'd be like $2,400 extra bucks I'll be getting by dropping down, so. Dickathus, yeah, I would say they are waiving it, though. I've had so many people tell me they're waiving that fee on it just because of the pandemic. Hopefully that is true. Jason Blake, my concern is what will reselling be like in a hyperinflational environment? When the crash happened in, 2008, my reselling didn't change at all. Not at all. The people that buy from us, again, this is another reason why what I sell is still sellable when other people are having major issues because of the economy. The people who buy from me are usually like 90% of probably the people who buy what I sell already have extra income, and it's not a huge ordeal, at least from what I see, because I don't slow down in the summer or any of that kind of stuff. I don't sell like summer goods and things like that other than collectibles for the most part. So it's a totally different experience, I guess you could say, you know. You sold $25,000 a month on eBay for 20 years and spent less than 20 hours a week. I don't know anybody who does that, but, you know, everybody's different. I would be putting in way more than that to get that kind of results. I know what I'm doing now in that range, and I put in a hell of a lot more hours than that. Pardon the language, but it would have to be replenishables. It's the only thing you can do at that rate. Yeah, I would call as well. Mr. Hot Wheels, how are you doing? Hey, Chuck. Had a problem with an impatient buyer opening case. I spoke to USPS stating my concern. They will get a refund and then the package, and was advised I could send a return request. They intercept the package, return it to me, but there is a fee. Still better than the buyer getting both. as I said, as long as the item isn't lost and it's still showing tracking, eBay can't force them. I've never had them do it, force a refund. It has to be lost for 10 days. They can't escalate the case while it's still showing current tracking in all the experiences I've had, unless they've changed something. And yeah, I've seen the request and intercept. I just let it go to the destination, you know. Shady, I am the one that sent you the email with pictures, but I have a complete book of classic car and militia photos. That's what I wanted. Yeah, I don't open any photos from anybody. No offense at all. I don't open any photos in any of my emails anymore at all. I get hate mail all the time, and I just got some over the video about making $10,000 profit a year from other reselling channels who offer courses who think I'm attacking them over their course. Again, I don't answer anything. I don't do anything in there. The only place I do stuff in is Patreon these days, just because it's my own site. No one else can come in there and do anything else but what I want from it, and I can scan the posts through Patreon. Everything that people post on the Patreon page is scanned, and Patreon handles that. I don't open up any attachments from anybody I don't know. No offense to anybody, but and the other thing is I don't have time to deal with the extra responses. I have, and I'm not trying to exaggerate, there's probably 270 emails that I have not answered on my Auction Professor account, the one that's listed here on YouTube, and that's just from the past 2 weeks. That's about average. Sometimes it's more than that. I have no way on earth to go through and fiddle through all those. A good chunk of them are wanting prices and stuff, which I just don't have the ability to do. No offense, but I am not a social media person where I make all my money pushing videos and stuff. My money comes from reselling, and you know, I that's where my time goes. The Patrons are a different story because they're paying for you know, the help I can, and I still take a couple days sometimes to get to the Patrons. Like Mondays, I work from morning till night. I'm up on Mondays from 5 a.m. till midnight every Monday working, and that is one of the days that I don't get a break on hardly at all, just with all the stuff going on. Mondays are horrendously hectic for me, especially now I don't have much backup for packers because they're all in college now. So anyway, I sell anything old that doesn't eat or breathe. I've sold stuff that breathe, believe it or not. They do very well. Yeah, Kathy, you're right. Thumbs down, deuce down is when YouTube looks at the thumbs up and thumbs down, they count them the same way, and that's why I had to laugh today because the video hadn't even started and it still was like 10 minutes in, and I had four thumbs down. And it's people who follow me. They follow me just so they can get a notice, just so they can come and put a thumbs down before the show starts. What a waste of time! That's 10 minutes somebody could have used to list something. I don't waste time on any of that stuff. I don't get aggravated on any of that stuff anymore. It's just business. If I have an issue with a customer, 2 minutes after I'm done answering their response or doing what I need to do, I'm already onto something else and could care less what happened 2 minutes ago. You know, it's just not worth your time or aggravation. This is the easiest job for me that I've ever had to deal with without a boss. I've got the freedom. I don't care if I put extra time in. It's not a concern for me. Let's see here. Well, thank you very, very kindly, Kathy. I honestly appreciate that. Again, I'm not trying to market the service with Patreon, but I only offer content, and I answer every single question in Patreon. There's not a single question that I have not answered. If you send me a couple sentences, I probably am still going to send you a couple paragraphs. I always try to be thorough, and I don't want to waste your time by giving you an answer that's not all there. I try to really think about everything I answer. That's part of the reason I don't answer, and I don't have the time to do answers on here on YouTube. I'd be spending all my time answering because I answer so great detail. And when I do answer folks, occasionally I've been answering here and there once in a blue moon, they don't like my answer, and then they start attacking if they don't want to listen to what's really going on. That's their problem. I had one person say eBay was a crook and they're thieves, and then when I explained what they were trying to say wasn't correct, eBay wasn't breaking the law, then they accused me of or then they said eBay's a monopoly, and I can't see through my own trees or something like that, some comment like that, and I'm like, you changed your whole topic of the sentence. That's typical. I usually get an argument from somebody if I mention something, or combat or make a comment. If they don't like what I say, I'm always the jerk about it if I'm just stating facts from doing this forever. I don't like to get into arguments on my own page. I do like to approve and let pretty much every feedback listed or typed up go through. Again, I don't allow any political whatsoever. There may be a chance where one of my employees approved some comments, but every single comment on my pages, every single video is screened, just because, again, we do get hate from some of the videos that I put out talking about, what I think is good and bad about channels in general. I've had people ask, who wouldn't you watch? Who do you think's a con artist? Who do you not think's a con artist on YouTube? I won't do that because it's none of my business on what they do. I'm just giving my opinion on who I personally, if I needed the help, I wouldn't go to another channel that just sells courses and isn't a reseller. If their store only has a handful of things and you look at what they're selling and it's a joke, they're just doing whatever they're doing just to get your money. And I'm not like that, and that's a pet peeve of mine. It's a morality issue. If you're going to say you're a reseller, you darn well better do that for the majority of your income, in my book. Charlie Gaki, those that do, those that can't teach. Yeah, I know the old proverb or saying you say there. I can do both. I can teach and do it, and I don't have a problem with that. I like talking about the stuff I do. I love getting into this. If I'm out in public and I run into another reseller, we're usually talking for a while. It usually drives the wife nuts if she's with me because I go off in little tangents and we get into, and we both know what we're talking about, whoever I'm running into. I'm going to cut it off in a minute here. I'm probably way later than I thought I would be. I'll cut it off in just a minute here. We got 228 people in-house right now, and I'm glad we hit 132 likes, so thanks everybody for hitting that like button. I do honestly and sincerely appreciate that. Yeah, I don't look at stores or anything else like that other than in my Patreon page. No offense again, I don't have time. I'm not a consultant for anybody. I don't get paid for that. I used to charge $45 for 30 minutes, and I had a ton of people wanting to sign up for that, but I'm not interested in doing that. I don't care if it's $90 an hour. I don't care if it ends up being $100 an hour. I'm not interested in spending my time as a consultant and that kind of thing. I'll help everybody in the Patreon. They're invested in it in my book. Again, I'm not trying to do this just so you do it. That's where my time goes. I only have a limited time, and it only goes to one source these days, which is Patreon. I got well over 300 people in Patreon, and that's where my efforts go to if I'm going to answer something. No offense. If it's on here in a live show, I answer everything I can to anybody who's out there. But I honestly just don't have the time or energy to do it. I'm doing 14-hour days and looking at one account or anything. I do 30, 40 minutes if I look at an account, and I can't do that other than if I'm getting at least something back from it. Everybody in Patreon has the option to have a free store review in a video. You can go back and watch it all you want. It's usually 30-plus minutes, and I go into details. I think most everybody who I've done a store review on has had some stuff that I pointed out. They changed that stuff and they sold that stuff, so at least they got their money out pretty quickly, I would say. Planet Now, would weather events a disaster? I have too much stuff to sell. So do I, honestly. Yeah, lots do work. Jay, not knowing what your items are selling or your profit margins, it's not going to be something I could tell you too much on, or your items, honestly. Doing good in your first month, there's no I would do it for 6 months and then worry about where you're going with it. Once you know it, in 6 months you should know everything. That's just my take on it, in all honesty. You got to know how the whole platform works. Yeah, information's good, Carl. That's the number one thing. That's going to get you more money than anything else. Knowing more than the person you're buying from. everything I buy, I get and I make money on because I know more than the person I'm buying it from. That's the number one thing that'll get you the most money. Jack Hoffman, well, thank you very kindly. I do honestly and sincerely appreciate that. David Mueller, well, thank you as well. Again, that's what I say. I spend a lot of time answering the Patreons. And this morning, I've been on Patreon like 3 different times today. I've spent, and I'm not going to exaggerate, this is probably an honest estimate, I probably got 3 hours in just answering Patreons. I get a lot of emails now on Patreon, and that seems to be a lot. I think Francisco had one from Patreon too. I will look at those in the morning. I know I just saw one on my phone a few minutes ago. Patreon too, I'll have a bunch of surveys up, and you will, as I said, see another video. But there's surveys going up. That's the other thing. Let's see here. Yeah, I appreciate and value people's time, understanding that time isn't free and you shouldn't undervalue yourself. However, there are people that literally don't have a clue. That is true, Planet Now. I don't necessarily have to make a big... Again, I'm not motivated by stuff like that. If I really wanted to, and I've said this before, I could probably make an extra $3,000 every single month just by putting promotions on my YouTube videos or shouting out products for people, because I get those constantly. I've probably got 150 of them in my box right now. I'm not interested in that. I don't care for that kind of money. It doesn't fulfill me, and I don't get much out of it. And in my opinion, it lessens the respect people would have for somebody, a certain group of people. You're either a legitimate businessman as a reseller, or you're a legitimate course maker who happens to resell on the side. And I'm a reseller. Again, no offense, no problem if somebody wants to just do courses, but just say, hey, I do courses for a living. I don't resell for a living. That's a deception in my book. Well, thank you, Mia. I do appreciate it. I'm sure Dom does as well. Dom's a good guy. I fully have faith and belief in Dom as being a sincere and honest person in my book. I can't say that about a lot of YouTubers, but there are some good ones. Craig's a good one as well, too. I like Wade. Scott, good person. Steve on Scott's show is a good guy, too. Sue, of course, is a very good person as well, too. Sue, I'm going to mix it up. She's got all S's. Sue sells shells, I think, or something. I'm terrible. I'm sorry, Sue. I'm sorry. Arani, yeah. I mean, they can say or do what they want. I always get I always know it's coming the minute I put up a video like the 10,000 profit. When I knew it was coming, I knew it when I put it in there. Had I not edited out a section out, I probably got way more hate. I was being more honest than I wanted to be. Everything in there was legit, but the point is I didn't want to call out because some people would have understood who I was talking about right off the bat, but I'm not a course guy. I'm sorry, but I'm just not. No problem with courses. I'm not saying I've never done a course in my life, but, you know, college is one thing and stuff. But, again, make sure you know who you're getting. Wade's Ventures, for example. Wade is a reseller. Wade does those. I don't know anybody personally that I've talked to at that close of a person that hasn't, that does that kind of business. He does it all the time. You watch his videos. You know what he's doing. He's not making up some big story on what his business is. Neither is Scott. Scott's a reseller, too. Bearded Picker. Let's see. I finally saw part of one of Scott's videos just the other day on his other, the live show channel, too. I know they got the auctions going as well, too. I've been having people ask me about auctions to do some of the bulk. I don't know the legality on running auctions on a website, on your YouTube channel. I've heard people say, this, that. I've looked into the state laws, and I'm more worried about what the state says about it than what, you know, some of the other aspects. I'm not saying people are breaking the law. I don't know enough about that aspect. I'm just cautious on that. Yeah, I know I keep saying I'm getting off this. I keep talking. I'll just look at it just a couple more, and then we'll edit off from here. Social media, I hate social media, honestly. I do it because it seems to be a necessity for YouTube and getting traction. If I wasn't doing Patreon along with YouTube, I probably wouldn't be able to do YouTube at all, in all honesty, because my time is worth something. You know, it's worth a lot these days. If I put up another $45 for 30-minute thing, I got dozens of people that would sign up for it. And it's not what I want to do with my time. I'd rather be listing than, even if I'm making, $90 or whatever. That's not the point. It's do what you like to do, and if it becomes a job, and if I'm sitting here having to consult with people that are paying me, it's going to feel more like a job than anything. So I guess that's more the line of it. Just like me doing promotions or courses or stuff, it's going to turn into a job more than anything else. And I don't want a job. I want a career or something that I enjoy doing. And not that I don't mind talking to people, but on a one-on-one basis, it's more of a hindrance to what I personally like to deal with. I don't like social media. I know I'm on YouTube, but nobody's in the room with me. I don't have to deal with anybody. It's just me or the wife or my dog, which doesn't want to leave. But that's the point. So let me just look at one or two more. Charles, I can honestly say I love your videos, and the Patreon is the best money I've spent. Well, thank you very kindly. Let's see here. Setting numbers to list every day is a good thing. Those in Patreon, I did type up a how many items you list day chart so you can kind of keep track. I'm going to post that up in the next week or so. I'm probably going to try and do it every day as well, so we can kind of keep together and maybe give some people some more motivation to get some stuff up, I guess. Croc 1029. Well, I know where you're at now. I did look it up on a map after I saw you and talking about the city. Business is booming. I could make more money just by selling more things online if I really wanted to, but again, we've got a lot of projects going on. I sacrifice money in some things to get the toys out. I've got to but I'm investing time into toys and things like that. And I may be losing opportunity to sell some things or get a little more revenue coming in from eBay or from Amazon just because I'm not spending that time listing. But in the long run, again, not my eggs all in the same basket. In the long run, if the toys take off, I could get to a point where I could just pay somebody to produce them for me, and I don't have to do anything for it. Again, some of the best money I've made has been selling 3 different items on Amazon over and over and over again for almost 4 years now. If it can be something that I own exclusively, everything involved in it, it's a no-brainer. I'm working for those type of things. It's like private branding, your own creations, your own toys, and that's some of the lines I'm going for. Again, I'm going to branch out. We're going to show you some of that too, but having multiple different little businesses is better than having just one eBay store or something like that. It's a no-brainer. Most people, like gig employees and stuff, which is what we basically are, have multiple forms of revenue, multiple revenue streams, and I've got a bunch of them. We'll have a dozen very shortly, a dozen different sources where money trickles in constantly. Every time you add another one, you're getting more money. Residual income from some of these keeps rolling in. I don't want to just beat a dead horse on that. Last thing here, set up some expectations on what you expect from your business. Go through with those expectations. Know what you want out of it. Look ahead. Don't be short-sighted. Don't just be looking at this week or next week. Think about it in the long haul. 10 years from now, are you still going to be able to do this on one platform? 10 years from now, are you going to be physically able to do this? 20 years from now, are you going to be physically able to do this? You're not working for another company, so if you keep doing this for 10 years, what are you going to do for retirement funds? If you don't do it now while you're able to, the opportunity later on may not be there to do it. So that's why I say the market's hot. You hit while it's hot. It's hot right now. We don't know how long it's going to be hot. So every waking minute you have, in my personal opinion, that's what you should be doing, is investing it into reselling if you want to be a full-time, forever, lifelong reseller. If you're just doing it right now and you're not thinking about the future, decide what you want to do. What are your expectations? Make up your mind on it and move. You might make the wrong decision. That's fine. Learn from that decision and then move forward. That's all you got to do, is learn from it. As long as you're learning, even a bad choice is better than not making a choice at all. I can say that at least I tried with a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe a lot of it didn't work, but I tried, and I know what the results were, so I know next time not to do this, or I might think of another way to do it that, hey, this didn't work, maybe a different way will work. Whatever you're doing. I've got different ways to do almost anything these days. I've got a backup for everything I do these days. Everything, pretty much. But anyway, we're going to let it go at that. I do honestly and sincerely appreciate everybody coming on. Again, I try to get to every question on the live shows the best I can. Again, videos are coming out. I won't give a hint on the YouTube video tomorrow, but Patreon's an update video, and then you've got the Chinese stamp video coming out from the posts on Patreon for those in Patreon, which should be done or posted this weekend. It is done. Yeah, it is done. It's processed even now that I think about it. So anyway, I do appreciate everybody coming on. Hopefully you're having a good day. Hopefully things are going in your direction, but I do appreciate it and thank you very kindly.